Hi, I'm Shonda Miles. Thank you for joining me. I just want to talk about just being the best you that you can be. I think in this world of social media, we get caught up in comparing ourselves to other people. And one of my favorite quotes is by Marianne Williamson. You might know it from the movie Coach Carter, because that's where I heard it from, the movie Coach Carter. But the quote is, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. Your playing small does not serve the world. And that quote is by Marianne Williamson. It is one of my favorite quotes. And we fail to realize that we are all extraordinary. We are all unique. We all have our own gifts and skills, talents, and abilities that God has blessed us with. We get caught up in seeing what somebody else is doing, comparing ourselves to somebody else's experience or somebody else's life when the roads that we travel are just different. But we just need to focus on being ourselves, being our best selves. And so I didn't just say be yourself. I say be your best self. And so that means that every single day we should be trying to get better and better and better. But I don't have to be somebody else. So my natural personality is I'm an introvert, super, super shy. And I always wanted to be an extrovert. I always wanted to talk to people, and it's just not my natural bent. It's not how God made me. But what I realize is that because I am quiet, because I am an introvert, I'm not the person who's going to tell you what I think or tell you off or have something smart to say or be sarcastic, because that's not my natural bent. Because as an introvert, we tend to take things inside. And so my goal is always to take it inside and bathe it in prayer before I say it to somebody. And so that's the advantage of being an introvert. Whereas somebody who's extrovert, they're less likely to think about what they're going to say. They're more likely to tell you what they think, to tell you off. And so it's dangerous when you don't stop and think about what you're going to say to somebody. But anyway, to be your best you, I want you to just think about, what is it that you're naturally good at? Who are you? What makes you you? As women, we don't say thank you when somebody compliments us. When somebody gives us a compliment, we always try to justify it or try to play it off like we aren't brilliant. But we all are brilliant. You are enough just the way that you are. God made you. You were fearfully and wonderfully made. And so it's a constant thing that we have to be conscious of, that we are brilliant. We're all enough. We don't have to be like somebody else. We don't have to look for somebody else's approval or validation or acceptance. We're enough. God made us who we are. And so we got to be thinking about how good God is, and how we're made in his image. So we're good enough just the way that we are. So another quote that I really like is educator and professor Leo Boscali says, the easiest thing to be in the world is yourself. The most difficult thing to be is what other people want you to be. So you just think about that. It's easy to be me because it's natural for me. It's no work. But being somebody else, it's hard work, trying to be something that you're not. It's you're constantly acting. You're constantly wearing this mask, trying to be somebody else. So just be yourself. It's the easiest thing to do. Being somebody else is hard work. So I'm talking about this because I've been dealing with this. I dealt with this early this year. My husband came to me and said, what do you want for Valentine's Day? And because of the goodness of God, I'm able to do a lot of things that I want to do as far as buying things, right? And so he said, what do you want for Valentine's Day? And I said, I want you to clear out my Amazon cart. It's like 24 books. And so of course, he bought the books, and he said, don't tell anybody. And so first time ever, I realized that I was like different. And so his thing was, he wanted to buy something so people could see, and so he could say, he did this. Or I have adult children that are male, so they could see the roses, they could see the candy, the chocolate, or whatever. But for me, it's 24 books is what I want. It's who I am. I am a reader. I am an educator. I am constantly teaching. So my job is coaching and consulting. And so I always want to be my best when I show up for a client or when I show up on live video. And so it was, strange, but it's for him, but it was quirkiness for me. It's who I am. If you call me weird, just call me weird, but it's who I am. And so since that time, so when he did that, when he said, don't tell anybody about buying the 24 books for Valentine's Day, it made me feel kind of a certain type of way, like, okay, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with getting 24 books for Valentine's Day? But it's who I am. There's nothing I can do about it. I am who I am. I cannot change this part of me. And so the brilliant thing is that God made me who I am, and I'm able to help a lot of people. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. How you doing, Stacy? And so just whoever, be who God made you to be. Be the best that you can be. You just got to take action wherever you are, and you're going to increase your confidence. You're going to want to get better. Do what you say you're going to do. But we got to stop looking to our left and looking to our right to see what everybody else is doing. We got to look up to God, okay? Listening to what he's saying to us when he's speaking to us. We got to listen to what he's saying about our purpose and who he called us to be, and stop, watching everybody else to see what they're doing. I know for sure we all have our own journey. And what I love about God is that he made us all unique. So no one else ever is like you. Nobody's before you, nobody that come after you will be just like you. He created you with your own unique experiences, gifts, and talents. And so that's something to be celebrated. And so I always go back to this something I heard when I was younger, God made me and he doesn't make any junk. And so we're all special. We all are special. We all have unique abilities. And so we just need to focus on improving ourselves, improving our strengths, improving our abilities, instead of wishing for somebody else's life, wishing to be like someone else. The next quote I have, this was from Nelson Mandela. He said, our surroundings need not control our spirit. People who devalue us do not determine our value. Dreams can be birthed during the daily grind. Out of our brokenness, we can be made whole and bring healing to others. And then Stephen Chandler says, our big God does not make small people. And then he says, comparison is the thief of creativity. And then President Roosevelt says, comparison is a thief of joy. So when we compare ourselves, we steal a joy because we're constantly trying to be something that we're not. So just be your best self. Just be who God called you to be. And one thing is for sure, no one can beat you being you. You are unique. You are brilliant just the way that you are. You have your own skills and talents and abilities, like I mentioned. Just focus on how you can get better. We got to stop comparing ourselves to other people. When we do, we get stuck. We're just trying to figure out, okay, why am I not making any moves? Why am I not doing the things that I'm supposed to do? And it's because we're comparing ourselves to somebody else. I want to be just like her. I want to be just like her. But if you just focus on your own genius, your own area of genius, you can do great things that God called you to be. The last thing I'll kind of leave with is, how dare we think we are not good enough when God created us? How dare we think we are not good enough when God created us? We're good enough because God created us. What I know for sure is that people are going to talk about us no matter what. If you do something good, people are going to talk about you. If you do something bad, people are going to talk about you. So you might as well just be your best self and let people talk. And don't get caught up with, well, she's talking about me, she doesn't accept me. No, it's always going to be, you're too fat, you're too skinny, you're too loud, you're too quiet, you're too this, you're too that. And so we just need to be our best selves. And just ignore the chatter, ignore the people that are talking about us. I know that people who are doing things, people who are making major differences, people that are making big moves are not thinking about anybody else. They're just focused on themselves. And I'll just say this too. I know that sometimes we think that people are looking at us, judging us, saying different things, criticizing us. When people are so caught up in themselves, they don't care about us. They're just trying to do their own thing. They're just focused on themselves. They're not looking at us to see what we're doing. And, they're not comparing themselves to us. So be yourself. It's easy. It's natural for us to be ourselves. It's hard work trying to be somebody else. It's hard work. And let's see, the last thing I'll kind of leave with is just be comfortable with who you are. I am who I am. Your approval is not needed. And so that's what you got to be thinking about every single day as you continue on this journey we call life is I am who I am. Your approval is not needed. So in the comments, you'll tell me what you think. What do you think? Do you think that can you be your best self? Are you struggling to be your best self? Do you want to improve in this area? Do you find yourself comparing, especially women, we find ourselves comparing ourselves to other people. So tell me what you think. Do you find yourself comparing yourself to other people? Do you see the goodness of God in us, the uniqueness in us all, to be brilliant, to be extraordinary, to not have to be like everybody else, to just walk our own path? So let me know what you think.